Business culture and the culture that we operate in the office in Twitter in Dublin is very important to me. I think about it a lot, and I think of one of my roles as a leader as being to create an environment in which people can perform, and all of the employees, and especially the early employees, contribute to that culture, and then that kind of encodes the DNA, which goes on for a long time. I don't think that business culture, the culture that we have worked very hard to achieve in Twitter in Dublin and that I've seen in other companies in Silicon Valley, I just don't think that's consistent with anything but a yes vote.
The tech business, the tech industry is a global industry, and it is incredibly intense, incredibly competitive. And if we're going to compete as a nation, we need to be able to attract and retain the very, very best people on the planet to come and work here in this country, and not putting barriers in the way of any form whatsoever. In fact, quite the opposite, giving them encouragement and support and incentives to come together with their families and their loved ones is so important. And for that reason, I'm very happy and delighted to be able to speak out and strongly endorse a yes vote.
The success or otherwise of our business depends largely on how innovative the software developers are in Venetics. And if you look at the kind of HR issues that we have to consider to create that innovative environment, the legal framework in the country is very relevant to that. So if our gay friends and relatives think that they're inhibited in coming to work and expressing themselves fully because the law of the land tells them that it's okay to discriminate against them, then it just makes it every bit harder for us to create that kind of innovative environment that we need.
I think in the long run, people perform better when they can be themselves. And people perform better when you can somehow challenge them, but also support them. And I think some businesses get the challenge part right, very difficult objectives and a little bit of pressure, that can be good. It has to be coupled with support. And I think there's nothing more supportive than removing obstacles for somebody to be themselves. And so it's important to note here that employers shouldn't be agitators for people coming out in the workplace, but we just should not be putting obstacles in the way.
The critical asset that we're competing for internationally is people. We really, really need the top people that we can possibly get and retain them. And in any leadership, if you look to, both John and Stephen are running their own operations here. I'm not running an operation at the moment, but it is all about the leadership and the environment that we create for the people who work for us. And people are giving the best years of their professional careers, in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s, to you as a leader, to your company. And if they're doing that, you've got to make sure, obviously, that you deserve that privilege, that you're going to set up the right environment for them, and making sure that their life outside of work is as stress-free as it possibly can be from you as an employer's perspective is really important, so that the individuals can devote themselves fully to the work that you have to do and the job and the mission that you have. As a country, it's absolutely critical that we pass this as a yes. I think it would be so damaging to our status internationally and send out such an awful message if we were to reject this referendum.
I completely agree with Chris. When I was growing up in Ireland in the 80s and the early 90s, I was sometimes shocked when I'd meet, usually it was an American, who had relocated to Ireland with their company. Because you just didn't come across many people who had relocated to Ireland at that stage. That's changed dramatically now. And it's changed in a very, very positive way. And now you have people coming from all over Europe, young people coming from, for example, Spain or Italy or Germany to Ireland, thinking it nothing strange at all that moving to Dublin as a tech capital in Europe is the most natural thing that they could do. We've come a really, really long way, and we shouldn't take that for granted. But if on the 23rd of May that the international headlines are that we, through a vote of the people, have voted against this, it can only do damage to that, I think, working assumption that young people around Europe will have today about Ireland being a forward-looking country.
All of the software developers in our business will every day be dealing with people in other countries. And if you look at all of the countries that Ireland typically does business with, We actually stand out as one of the few who doesn't already have marriage equality. So there's a truism in the sales industry that you shouldn't try and sell a man a car, you should try and sell him 5 cars over 15 years. And all of the guys in our place understand well that they're in the business of building relationships with customers that are going to last a long time. And I think marriage equality is a very important part of that, with the vote coming up. So given that life stuff so frequently gets in the way, we'll be giving all of our staff an extra half day's leave on May 22nd to encourage them to vote.
There are a lot of grassroots things. For example, there are, I think, about 45 people in the office who've volunteered to go out and canvass tomorrow, I believe. We've done a number of fundraisings. I wrote an op-ed this morning for the Irish Times, and doing this panel thing is a part of this as well. We're all trying to get involved. We're trying to also utilize the unique skills that are in the office. So obviously there are a lot of people who are very tech savvy, good on media, marketing, social media, and so a number of people from our sales team who spend the rest of the year working with businesses and advising them on their marketing strategies are helping. They've put together a webinar, an online sort of presentation to help people who are campaigning for a yes vote to get the message out and use new media, digital media, in interesting ways.
Equality isn't just good for innovation, it's good for investment and good for jobs, and everyone likes jobs.
People do their best work when they feel comfortable being themselves.
I'm going to add one as well, and that is that talent is crucial. The best talent is crucial to Ireland, and talent loves tolerance, diversity, and inclusion.